Sugarcoated is my first foray into my characters having magical abilities, and that is because I sway more toward the side of sci-fi rather than fantasy. Fantasy is not something I necessarily gravitate toward reading, and those magical powers or abilities is not something I gravitate toward for reading or for writing, but my fans love it, so here we are with a magical-based Hansel and Gretel's witch retelling, where Annika is not actually a witch. She is Hansel's secret girlfriend and working with him to sneak Gretel into the palace to assassinate the Mad King, because Gretel has the power over life and death, and while the Mad King is systematically murdering the entire country, they have to put a stop to it, and Annika is willing to risk everything to make sure their plan succeeds. So Annika is the town's baker. She has taken over after her father has unfortunately passed away, and she has the power over illusions, so she can actually transform things that aren't real so that it looks like something really cool has been created. She creates fake walls on occasion. She'll create things like fake plants. She does in fact transform her cottage into both a rundown, decrepit hot shack type thing so people leave it alone, and a magical candy palace to impress the people in her life that she loves. And so she has this gift and this power over doing all sorts of really cool and interesting things. And so we have this group, this trio, who all have these magical abilities. Hansel has to go forward and save his sister. He has the power over life and light. So he does some really cool techie things inside of this story, and they all have their own individual gifts. And I got to explore what it was like to create a magical system inside of stories, because again, I tend to sway sci-fi, which is realistic things that could happen well into our future, whereas the fantasy is all about those magical systems and what could be if we had interesting powers. So I really love that I got to kind of create this, and I had so much fun working with this. Because it was my first time doing magic, I just went for it. So Annika has the ability to transform anything, or look like anything is transformed, into something really cool. So I built walls, and I deceived people with things, and I transformed things with her magic, and we did create that candy house, and we created all of these things. She was able to like create fireworks out of candy in the sky that rained down, and like all the things. Girlfriend had the coolest power, and I mean, I understand Gretel, like death, but like, come on, illusions? Please, I would go for that any day. And so we have this really cool story where I get to understand the magical systems and what can and cannot happen, and how it's different for each individual person, and how not everybody has all of these unique and interesting powers. So the Mad King is not going to have the things that Annika has, and Hansel doesn't have the things that Gretel has, and all of these different traits define who these people and these characters are and their movements going forward. So whereas Gretel can protect herself by rearranging the entire forest, or she can grow things, or she can unalive things, she can protect herself in ways that Annika can't. But Annika can protect herself in ways that Gretel can't. She can build those fake walls. She can prevent people from seeing things or instruct them to see things. She has the ability to create things that aren't actually there, but redefine what people think is reality. And so with this, I really got to explore how that defined their personality and their decisions going forward. Annika was able to make choices that Hansel couldn't make, and Hansel was able to make choices that Gretel couldn't make because of what they could and could not do. So it was really, really interesting for me to kind of get into this magical system and figure out what works for each person, what are the rules, what are those overarching themes with them, and how are these powers similar and how are they different, and how are they defined within this magical system and within each individual character. So I got to break it down and do some really cool things, and I love how this story turned out, even though it is an absolutely heart-wrenching story, because we know that history books lie. We know that the Mad King won, and because he won, he got to redefine history and paint Annika as that witch. She fails. She has to take the fall when their plan goes awry. So this is not a happy, feel-good story. If that's what you're looking for, this is not for you. But to redefine the history, to give the witch a different version and a different story, and to show what really happened when people who are not heroes win and redefine history. I just loved looking into that inside of this story. Now, if you want more information on Sugarcoated, you can check out the full playlist here on YouTube. I always break down some really cool stories about my books here. and everybody's got their own playlist. So you can check out behind the scenes for more of Sugarcoated and all of my stories, and every single week I drop a brand new video behind the scenes of one of my stories. So let me know, which of my books should I drop a behind the scenes for next week? I'm taking your opinions and thoughts now, and I'll bring a story that you probably haven't heard or definitely haven't heard for the next couple of videos. So let me know, which book do you want to hear more from? I'll see you in the next video.